Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited. Astrid Mueller here, and Eyenie Schultz is here with me. We have a really inspiring interview for you if you're a soul-preneur or a woman or a man, but like if you're really craving to bring your gifts to the world in a dream business that you love and access your inner power. Eyenie is an amazing soulpreneur who has a super cool skill and coaching system that she's using in a playful way that will totally give you lots of inspiration of powering yourself up with the element of style. So I'm going to introduce her and starting my timer as well. I'm going to introduce her officially. So Eyenie is in Paris, by the way. She calls herself the Technicolor Priestess. She is a style alchemist, an iconic presence expert who helps badass women to express their true essence from the inside out, so they can show up as the most iconic selves, raise their vibe, and get mega visible. So that's a really cool, like, awesome big cloud of an introduction, and there's so much more behind it. But I'd love to hear from you, Eyenie. First of all, welcome. Big welcome to be with me. Super excited. So can you share in your own words, like, what awesome thing are you doing from Paris? Like, fill in the blanks. What is this thing? This Technicolor coaching.
Yes. So Paris, I'm just going to clarify, is my second home here in France. I'm in the southern,
cool.
I'm in south of France. So Paris is a big part of my work because I, like you said, help people to express themselves in a way. Like I've noticed, my whole life, just how I kind of went around like seeing all this potential and just seeing this different version of people. And I always wanted to show that version to them. Because I saw the magic that happens when they see this other version of themselves, when they feel the possibility of, sort of expand and things open for them when they feel in this other way. So that has sort of been my addiction my whole life. And now I get to do it as my work. It took a while to get here, but now, really, and I call myself iconic presence expert because the way you show up, the way you dress is fine and dandy, but it's about the energy you're exuding and who you're being, right? So the dressing and how you carry yourself, it's all part of that. And so Paris I use actually as a backdrop for a lot of my, I do Be the Icon photo shoots, shopping and photo shoot adventures with people who come from, fortunately all over the world. And then we do we just create magic and shift, and they just become really, truly iconic. And it's just really transformative in the time that we spend there. So that's been the main place that I've done these photo shoots. That's one of the things I do. Yeah.
That is so cool. And I'm so excited to have you because you also, in addition to all the photo shoot fun and like helping women access their inner powers, to their appearance and the clothes and the energy behind it, like so you really use also this even the language as you describe everything on the website of like quantum and energy, and you work with spirituality. And I'm super curious, can you share a bit more before we go into your backstory, how it all came together? That is such a big part of your work, and you already hinted at it. Can you share a bit more, like how does that work for people who are not so familiar with it, how that helps them to step into bigger possibility?
Yes. So sort of, there are two sort of access to this. So it sort of hit me a few years ago that, getting dressed and getting ready, whatever, putting on your makeup, it's not just like getting dressed, getting ready, putting on your makeup. It's actually a beautiful ritual of self-adornment and of self-love. Like it's a very caring, lovely act that you have, because I noticed the times where I felt the worst, where I felt frumpy or whatever, that's when I totally have neglected myself. So I don't go through this ritual because it's almost like I deprive myself of it. So doing this, like really, whatever your version of that is, right? Reminding yourself of just how beautiful you are, because beautiful is energy. So being the energy of beauty, creating that through how you treat yourself, right? And reminding yourself that you're freaking worthy of that magic, right?
Yes.
So that's sort of this for me. And also, there's a beautiful thing in Sanskrit. Actually, the word beauty or beautiful meant of the heavens. Come on, isn't that perfect?
I
So
didn't know
it,
that.
yes, I learned that a few years ago. So it's just reading, like so I came across it and I was just like, wow, of course, right? So it's really this beautiful, sacred act of just showing yourself that you give a rat's ass about yourself, you care about yourself, and that you deserve that, right? So that's sort of
Wow.
this first part. Yeah. Um, and why is that important? So, so many of it, we have dreams, we have, aspirations, we want to grow our empires, we want to be whatever it is, that we each want and desire really freaking deeply.
Mhm.
So part of being the person, who part of sort of bridging that gap and stepping
Mhm.
into that role is starting to
Mhm.
be that person. So how does that
Yes.
person be, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how does that person be? How do they dress? How do they treat themselves? And it's all part of that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I can totally resonate with what you're saying. And I feel on my journey, it's like no coincidence that we're talking now because I've done so much like coaching work on myself as a coach to others and released so many things that were like interfering with really like seeing my power and feeling my power. And like I'm actually really starting to sense like what you're saying like on an energetic level also like how that really matters because I used to have, and I'm just quickly sharing like my story, like I used to, have all this like inner critic stuff going on of like, oh my gosh, like my teeth isn't perfect or like too much on my hips, blah, 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 whatever. And like
Mm.
always just like perceiving yourself like from that critic viewpoint. And I still do that sometimes a little bit. It's like, well, what's like, how are my hips now? It's crazy. It's like a long journey, but
Yeah, we
but
are
like I
human. We are human. Yeah.
also right, we're human, right? And
Yeah.
but I also connect with that ritual aspect that you mentioned, and like how that makes you feel, and like if we see ourselves. Like celebrating ourselves and celebrating like the energy that we want to feel today. And like this is how I started playing with, and I don't even know if that's your system, but like picking things consciously to really celebrate the day and like that how I want to feel and like looking in the mirror and like be giving gratitude for this body and this lifetime and like yeah, there's a lot of like spirituality connected to that if we're ready to dig deeper, and that opens up like a
Yeah.
deeper level of acceptance. It's really really
Yeah.
fascinating. So one thing that go ahead, I'll keep the thought.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I totally agree, and it's almost like this big, the sort of another part of this is just giving yourself permission, right?
Mhm.
Like 'cause spirituality is accepting yourself, embracing yourself, self-love, unconditional self-love, right? So
Mhm.
just that's part of it, right? And just giving yourself the permission to really love yourself, to be that person who takes care of yourself, to create the time for that. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
pretty big. People think it's just fluff and, trends and, shopping at the mall, but that's not my approach. And there's
Yeah,
nothing like some
it
people
doesn't
do love
have.
that and that's fine, but that's not my approach. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It can actually be that very meaningful, expressive, like express yourself and celebrate yourself kind of way. Which I love that you're hinting at this, like these two ways, right? If you do it just for others and like to fit into some sort of like perception of like what beauty is, and you follow that and you try to fit into that, then it's like disempowering, right? But like if you have the
Yeah.
other side and you choose it from a place of power, and that's where you play. I want to highlight
Mm,
that. That is so, yeah, yeah, I totally get it.
absolutely. Yeah, you're doing it for
Yeah.
yourself. You're not doing it for approval. You're not doing it for compliments. And I've had people come back and say, I changed my dress and no one complimented me. And it's just, that's
Yeah.
not what this is about. You felt
Yeah,
amazing until you
exactly.
noticed no one complimented you. So this
Yes.
really is part of that internal work, just
Yes.
owning the
Yes.
shit out of it and loving it, whether you get a
Yes.
compliment or a flout or a whatever or not. You know what I mean?
Or
Yeah.
criticism, right? Like
Or
rocking it
criticism.
despite of it. Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
absolutely.
That's the
Yeah,
cool
yeah, yeah. It's part
space.
of the work.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
actually had that happen like recently. I went to a coaching retreat for myself to up level more, and like
Yeah.
somebody was saying in a loving way, what he was saying, "Wow, you're really eclectic today." He gave me this shocked look, and I do that like when I go to other places. I dare to like really because I live on Kodiak Island, Alaska, so I don't usually express myself like fully, just like I
Yeah.
do it in a in another way here, because it's more down to earth. You know, I may wear like, I don't know, like rubber boots and then like some bling with it or whatever. But like going
Yeah.
to San Francisco, I really like, oh, I had to catch up, and I put it out there. And when he said that, when he said that, I was like, thank you. And and it was awesome, because I'm just so grateful to be in that. When you're in that place, I just want to reflect that real quick to anybody watching and listening to this. When you're in that place of really feeling that disattachment of like, it doesn't matter what other people say. Actually, it was a compliment for me expressing myself, if I think back to it, right? And I was able to own it, like, as, oh my gosh, it felt so amazing. So once you are in contact with that power and you feel it in your heart, you are unstoppable. I just want to say that. And
Yep.
that's why we have this conversation here. And that's why Eyenie you do that work to empower leaders to really be unstoppable and own that power and be that on stage. And oh my gosh, it is just amazing. So I'm just starting to touch that quality and power, like, in a deeper way. And of course your dream business is going to take up, but then you become magnetic and all that good stuff. So anyway, I said a lot, but like, I just wanted to give listeners an example of how I feel. I feel like I'm like almost like the client that you never had, but like, I'm like, you know what I mean? So interesting. So let's talk more about you, with your amazing journey. Like, how, I'm curious, and everybody's probably curious, how did you find that? What inspired you to start that? And how did that change your life? Whatever you want to share from that.
Yeah. So beauty, and not, again, not based on societal, norms or what's supposed to be beautiful, but just aesthetics and seeing things a certain way has always been a passion. And then
Mm-hmm.
the bane of my existence, and what I based my self-worth on, because my family, my grandparents were really, I won't go into too much detail, but just to give you an idea, I grew up where like beauty was like the highest, most possible, like most amazing thing to attain, to aspire to.
Oh,
You had
wow.
to be beautiful, you had to be chic, you had to be elegant, you had to be like, and other people had to approve of that and think that you were beautiful and perfect and all these things, right?
Oh my
So,
gosh.
oh yeah, this was in Mexico. So with the beautiful, like, so dinner parties and all these things, cocktails, and oh, we're gonna go see this person, so wear this thing. And so when like growing up, like I just felt, I just wasn't, like, I just didn't meet those criteria. I'm 6'1",
Mm.
especially Mexico, petite, like the majority, not everyone, but I'm a very tall Mexican. But like most of my, my cousins, everyone was just petite and just fit into this mold and just looked a certain way. I did not. So from
Mm-hmm.
the very beginning, I sort of learned that I wasn't worthy, right? Because I didn't meet this criteria.
Mm.
Everyone in my family was beautiful except me. Everyone was like praised except for me. I was the ugly duckling, if you will, right? So,
Oh
yes. And so that really effed me up a lot. That screwed me
my
up.
gosh.
So basically, I spent a lot of time, most of my formative years, hiding and
Yeah.
thinking I was hideous and despising myself, but really loving beauty and fashion and style and helping other people feel amazing. So I
Yeah.
poured all of that onto other people. So there's
Mm-hmm.
not one single friend that I've had in my life that did not receive an Eyenie makeover. So everyone, I would make them
Mm.
over, dress them, like make them feel beautiful. My sister was like, she
Mm.
had the coolest style because she was like my muse, right? And
Mm.
I did the best I could to stay invisible.
Oh,
So
wow.
once, yeah. And so, but loving, like I would collect clothes and all these things, but I never allowed myself to wear them. So
Mm-hmm.
after years of that, I sort of started I started doing some work on myself and different things. And I started expressing, I left that context. I moved to, away from home, and I started expressing my style more. I got to reinvent myself, and I started sort of healing. And it
Mm-hmm.
was kind of happening in tandem. Like I would do inner work and I would express more of my style, and
Mm-hmm.
then some more inner work, and then more, another
Mm-hmm.
part would come out.
Nice.
And so I started healing through style and started expressing myself and understanding what an amazing vehicle that is. And just
Yes.
amazing things happen. Like once I started expressing my style, for example, I lost weight because I struggled with my weight for a long time because I was punishing
Mm-hmm.
myself and keeping myself, whatever. Once I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
I just started expressing myself. My body just kind of got to do what it does, like got to be its normal self, got to align, right? Recalibrate. So all these different things, you know? It's crazy. So it's been a journey of me healing through style and self-expression, and you know, and integrating that with energy work and other things I've learned
Yeah.
and have downloaded and received. And now because I know this worked for me, that's the
Mhm.
system I teach my clients. This is
Yeah.
literally what I go through with my clients
Yeah.
now. So
Wow.
yeah,
What a story. I
I
didn't
hope
even
that
know
wasn't too
that part of
long-winded.
your story. No, that was amazing. It's so powerful. It's almost like a fairy tale, and it's almost, I feel like you know how they say, like, that, for those of our listeners and viewers who believe that in reincarnation and like in choosing our life path before you come to this life, like, what an amazing path did you choose? How perfect, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
to really become this like passionate person, it's like, I know how this feels to be hiding, and like,
yeah,
wow.
yes.
Yeah, and this, I want to tie this back to everyone listening and watching, is like why this matters so much for your dream business in so many ways, right? Like
Oh God.
connecting the dots for
Oh,
everybody, right? So you were hiding. Like you can't have a business if you're hiding. You won't do any marketing and nothing, right? You
no,
basically like, yeah, nothing happens. Clients won't see you. They won't come to you. They don't want
because
to
you're
come
trying
to
to
you
fit
if you're
in. Yeah,
hiding.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a spiritual piece too, like when we fully express ourselves, how you describe that everything starts to happen, things fall in place. Of course, you're the person you're meant to be.
Mm.
And then everything just happens like, oh my gosh, that makes me so happy and excited that you bring this to the world. It's so needed.
Yeah, so
So
just like
amazing.
the women, you know, the people who I get a lot of people who are like, I feel like such a misfit or a weirdo or like a nerd
Mm-hmm.
or me too. Like that's where I come from.
Yes.
So but that is the gift also, and I know that for certain. So I love, and when you start expressing that in your own whatever weirdo, unique way, and weirdo for me is a high compliment. When you do that,
Yeah.
like that's when your other fellow weirdos can see you and they can come and they know
Mm-hmm.
that you're the person that's going to get them. So they're really like everyone, you know, I
Yes.
was like, yeah, right. I used to roll my eyes at that, like, yeah, right. All my whatever perceived imperfections are my gifts. But now that I'm living it, it is so true. Don't you think?
They actually are, right? Because
Yeah.
who wants to hang out with a Photoshop perfect person? That's only depressing, like to some people, right?
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
it's totally true.
everybody, we all have our right. Yeah.
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 Wow. That is so fascinating. So let's talk a bit about the cool stuff that you do, because
Yeah.
you do like photo shoots where people can show up and have this experience. Like, can you share a bit more? You go shopping with them, or like what's happening there, and like what do they walk away with afterward?
Yes, so it's all about really helping them. I love thinking of my work with them always as this portal. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
before and
Yes.
an after, not just in the clothing sense, but in how they like perceive themselves and present themselves and show up, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
basically, we get to Paris, for example. We get to Paris. There's lots of coaching, mindset, support, energy work, right? Seeing where they're at, what's holding them
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go shopping, and so much comes up, Astrid, during shopping. It's like
Yes.
it's bananas, like body image stuff, not deserving to buy yourself stuff, just money, everything. So there's lots of
Mm-hmm.
work that goes around that. But it's always magical and divinely guided, and we end up finding just amazing. It also dispels limiting beliefs like, oh, there's nothing's going to fit me in
Nice.
Paris, right? Yeah, you have more than enough to choose from. So it's really magical. They end up with an amazing
Mm.
wardrobe, amazing photo shoot pieces, because we've already created the concept before meeting in Paris. And so they get the royal treatment, spa treatment, everything to be prepared for the shoot. And then on the third day is the photo shoot with a full team, hair, makeup, photographer, a Parisian photographer, and
Mm.
then, you know, in these pre-selected locations where they can just rock it out. And I'm there supporting
Mm.
them, helping them stay connected to the vision, and art directing them and styling them and all that jazz. So
You
yeah, it's
know,
pretty magical.
oh my, so cool. And like it almost sounds like you help people experience their own fairy tale. It's funny that you used those words before, like, oh, I was like the ugly duckling, and then now you're the princess and you're rocky priestess, how you say it, but it's almost like this fairy tale evolution, right? And you allow
Yeah.
people to experience that and really become yeah, and feel that. That is so amazing. And like, you get me so excited about this thing that I want to actually, I'm putting it on my wish list. Universe manifesting that one day I will do that with you.
Oh, that would be
So
so
cool.
magical.
I
Oh,
can't wait.
yes. Yes, me either.
Yes, it will be.
Oh God, it'll be so
I'm saying
amazing.
it.
Yes. Sparkles will
Yes.
fly everywhere.
And I'll Yes, totally. And then of course when people have this, like they walk away with a new wardrobe,
Yep.
and a total photo shoot that they can use for themselves privately or freaking for their business, right? Like they're this new
Yep.
new person, and have more energy, confidence, like fully showing up. And what I'm getting, like with my branding background, is that with this new awareness of who they have really the access to their essence, and they can express that in everything they do, like their website and
Oh yeah.
their messaging, how they talk, like on stage, when they speak, like
Absolutely.
everything. They will become magnetic. It's like so powerful what you do. That's amazing. Watch the microphone
Yeah.
just a little bit. When you hit it, it makes crunchy sounds.
Ooh,
Just
sorry.
letting you
We'll
know.
hide
It's
the
all good.
necklace. There we
No,
go. Sorry about
no
that.
problem. No problem. It's all good.
Yes. No, and
Yes.
just to go back to what you're saying, yes, a lot of that go back and they finally understand their brand. They finally understand how it connects. It's
Yes.
not just about these brand colors or this whatever, this design,
Mm-hmm.
this logo. It's not about that. It's about a cohesive, sort of living, breathing, big, expanding, ever-changing brand, because it's them and
Yeah.
they're connected to it now and they understand it, you know? So
Yes.
yeah, the women I've worked with, definitely it totally changes. They're finally able to create their perfect website. They're finally able to, yeah, speak in their own
Mm-hmm.
voice. It's get on
Yeah.
videos. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. And
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Like also an important piece I feel to mention, like how this matters, and like how if you really feel a big calling to make a big difference in this world, it's almost like you need to do this. That's what I'm getting. It seems like it's such a powerful piece that you're like, well, there's different ways, roads to Rome, right? Like maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody has different access to things, but it seems so powerful to really feel this essence of who you are. I mean, that's brand magic right there. To really have
Yeah.
that, and the bravery to express it, and have something to use it daily. I find that is like such a really interesting piece of your work as well, that you can play with energy, how you want to feel with your wardrobe as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
you want to say
Yep.
something to that? How do you play with
Yeah.
that?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, yeah, dressing is just it's self-expression, it's play, it's light, it's intuitive, and
Mhm.
it expresses through the elements of the earth, of the world, right, of the universe, I guess.
Mhm.
So I work closely with people. I help them understand what those elements are, you know, whether it's air, water,
Mhm.
fire, whatever, how, you know, those elements play together for them, and how that they express so that they can feel more aligned. They
Mhm.
finally understand themselves in so many different new ways once they understand their elements, right? And like, oh, that
Mhm.
makes sense why I felt like this was missing all the time. And so they know to bring in maybe their other element with this outfit to express that thing and to get that like click that they weren't getting before. So it's like,
Cool.
yeah, and that's the real magic. Once they understand their elements, that's what they can put into their
Mhm.
website. That's what they can put into their outfits daily. That's what they can put into their home
Yes.
decorations, like everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that also brings me to an additional aspect that I've played with before too, is like to think of like good luck charms and kind of talisman sort of feeling, and how we can say like, oh yeah, this is my intention right now for my life. Or like, for example, like if I have a speaking gig, like I may want to say like, it's gonna go amazing, and my message really lands, and the right people are there, and it's gonna be a party or whatever. And then I may want to pick an item, and an outfit, of course, but like I've actually played before. It was like I had like custom jewelry made before that had a special meaning, and
Mm.
then wearing like a ring, for example, to symbolic
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
symbolize something, and that can be so powerful. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And it can remind you, it helps you stay connected to that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
love
and
that. I
it's
love that
almost
you do
like
that.
it's almost like a secret sort of like a ninja thing that you can do. Like people don't even have to see the whole thing, right? It's almost like don't they do that in some movies or like that where they say like, okay, I'm gonna wear like specific underwear that like only I know, but it gives me like secret hidden powers. You can play in so many
Exactly.
ways.
Yes, and it reminds me of, remember that cartoon Gem and the Holograms? Do you remember that from the 80s?
No,
She
I don't think
touches
I
her
ever saw
earring.
that.
Oh, yeah, when she wants to turn into a rock star, she touches her earrings. It says Showtime Synergy, and she turns into this magical rock star, and no one knows that that's her secret identity. So it always reminds me of that.
So crazy. This is so perfect. This is totally like fits in your concept as well.
Yes.
Isn't we're already getting like super close to having to wrap
Okay.
up the show, but I wanna highlight your amazing retreats that you do. Can you share a bit like an essence of like what is happening there? And it's in a
Yes.
castle in Paris in France. Like say more,
Yes,
please.
yes. So next month I'm doing the first one like this here in France in a mystery chateau. There's a circle of iconic seven. So an iconic seven women who are coming. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Sorry about that. An
No
iconic seven
problem.
women who are coming to the south of France. They've never seen a chateau,
Mhm.
so they're going to be taken through 3 days of just transformation and magic. And of course, at the end, there will be shopping and a photo shoot to really visually and energetically, reflect all the work that we do. So I'm so excited. They're coming from all over the world, and I've already got some interest in the one for next year. So I'm excited.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I want to put like a secret like holding spot, like even though I don't know yet how that will happen, but it's a universe thing, right? It's like a setting the
Yeah.
intention and trusting it comes together. That sounds so
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. I'm really grateful. So excited. The chateau is like, it's just dreamy to do something powerful in a beautiful
Yes.
space. So I'm
So
excited.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you too. So, I would love, like, before we share your website and where people can learn more, I would love to hear from you, like, one powerful question to your younger self before you had that dream business, and when you, like, what would you tell yourself to encourage you to pursue that dream and that anything is possible?
Just I think the thing I learned when I was in my 30s, I would really have younger me understand you're not everyone's cup of tea, and that is okay. It's actually liberating to not be approved of and loved and liked by everyone. Just you're not everyone's cup of tea.
Nice.
Take that and just run free, wild and free with that.
Nice. That is really
Yeah.
powerful. And it
Thank you.
sounds like
Yes.
really powerful how it tied into your story of just letting go of what everybody was thinking,
Yeah.
and like not giving yourself permission to not fit in. And then it's
Yes.
almost like it's like the first piece, like you give yourself permission, it's okay, whatever they say. And that's like a journey, right? But then at some point you're like, hey, I actually don't want you to be okay. That's cool. And then you're like, hey, where's my real tribe? Like,
Yeah.
woo! And then you really do your thing. And then, of course, the real people do show up. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you and I. Like, we feel so connected. We're like, so lit up. And oh my gosh, we have to do stuff together. So,
Yeah.
everybody listening and watching, your tribe is out there. And the more you become you, the more they will find you. Just so you know that.
Yes, and it's
Yes.
scary. It's really scary, but just don't fit in. Just really don't be afraid to just stand out, or don't be afraid of that. Just really don't fit in. That would
That
be
is
my
so
my
great.
parting word.
That is so great. Okay, so tell us the website. Where can people find out more about you and your amazing work?
Oh, yay, thank you. So my website is technicolorpriestess.com. And
Nice.
so I have lots of
Amazing.
freebies on there, quiz, style challenge, different a manifesto, lots of freebies where you can get to know my work
Yes.
more.
Yes, and I saw an amazing video too. Super fun to already get the footsteps into Paris and see a photo shoot and all that great stuff and meet
Yay!
Eyenie. Awesome. Thank you so much, Eyenie. It was such a pleasure to have you, and I can't wait to hear more and see more of the amazing impact and transformations you create on this planet. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, beautiful one, and thank you for your magic and work and just glitter, beauty, and thank you for having me.